Welcome back to another driving review, this time with the BYD Atto 2. And it's not even any ordinary Atto 2 because it's not the full electric variant, it's the hybrid. DMI, that's the branding that BYD uses for their hybrid vehicles. So yeah, this one actually it's an interesting one because it started in life as an electric vehicle and then they added a petrol engine, which usually is not the case, it's the other way around. And that shows in some regards. This mindset does have a couple of advantages and one small disadvantage, but I'll talk more about them in the static review, of which I'll include now the exterior footage of the car. Good news is the BYD Atto 2. Well, not any BYD Atto 2 because this one is not the electric vehicle version, it's the plug-in hybrid, DMI as BYD calls them. Okay, interesting. Not necessarily the fact that it's a plug-in hybrid, but the fact that it's actually based on an electric vehicle, so not the other way around. Which does mean it does have some qualities, to be honest. In terms of ease of use, the packaging, because the battery is down low in the basement of the car, to be called like that, is not in the trunk area, doesn't eat into the cabin space. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with the whole packaging. It's a car from 2026 and it has done about 9,200 kilometers until now. Alright, so let's check out the configuration. As I said, it's a plug-in hybrid, so yeah, we do have a petrol engine. It's a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated that it's coupled with an electric motor via an eCVT gearbox to the front wheels of the car. The battery from the floor of the car is at about 18 kilowatts hour usable capacity. We don't know the gross capacity, it doesn't matter, we only need the usable capacity anyway. And it's quite large for a sort of small crossover because it's not necessarily an SUV, and it's quite an efficient car, to be honest. It might help the fact that it does have EV tires mounted, considering once again the fact that first they came up on the market with the electric vehicle version, not this one, the DMI. Anyway, the power output of the whole system is about 212 horsepower and 300 newton meters in terms of torque, which comes from, oddly enough, once again, about 200 of those horsepower come from the electric motor and another 98 from the petrol engine. Well, those don't add up. Yeah, I know, because it's an eCVT gearbox. The power outputs do not add up one to one, to be precise. Anyway, the sprint from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour happens in 7.5 seconds and it's limited to 180 kilometers per hour. I reckon that you're most likely interested in the trunk space and the interior space of the car, as well as the consumption figures, which we'll talk about more, or I've already talked about in the driving part. I don't know, I'll see how I came up with the presentation. But regarding the trunk space, yeah, I know the carry-on luggage seems quite big in here, and okay, you can put it like this and probably store about 4 or maybe 5 of them in here. But that's not the whole story of the trunk area, because as you can see, we do have some deep pockets on either side and the light fixture in here, because we could actually lower the floor to its lowest position, which is right here where this additional cover lays. Yeah, you should get rid of the charging cables and the safety kit, but even so, then you could actually gain about 30 to 40% more trunk space, which is deep enough, plentiful in my opinion, considering the class of vehicle that this one is. My only complaint is actually that it's not a power operated tailgate, and yeah, the opening is quite low, so it will get covered in road grime. So yeah, as I said, it does have quite a lot going for it, because it's an electric car first, and that shows even in driving. All right, it's not necessarily that type of vehicle. You won't take it to some mounty road with some twisty bends, on purpose at least, but it's gonna be a bit more fun compared with some other plug-in hybrids, just because the battery is in the floor and not in the trunk or under the back seats or whatever. So the weight is a bit more on the lower side of the vehicle, even though it's an pseudo SUV, crossover. But once again, the mindset of having the vehicle, the electric vehicle part first. As I said, there is a drawback, and it's on the inside actually. They couldn't hide it, I mean, yeah. And I'll insert the interior footage to let you know. Yeah, as I said, I'm not sure to consider this vehicle as a compact car or a subcompact car, because I do not get an armrest back here, but I do get an air vent, which is something that you usually see on compact vehicles. But the lack of the armrest usually indicates it's a subcompact vehicle. Anyway, you do get a couple of USB ports in here as well, some pockets on the back of the seats and in the door cards, a couple of grab handles. The materials, once again, up here are not amazing. Subcompact vehicle, yeah. Although nowadays even compact vehicles come with hardpack materials up here, so yeah. At least the armrest on the door, it's quite soft. And we also get a grab handle, a hook, some interior lighting, and this panoramic floor, glass floor of the, not floor, ceiling. You got the point of the vehicle. Sort of a downside of the fact that it is an electric platform, it's in the way that my knees are inside the car, because the battery is on the floor. I do sit quite upright. I can stretch under the front seat, and then my knees are in a more relaxed position. But even so, the bench is quite short, quite low. So yeah, not ideal. At least the whole floor is low, so you could use the third seat if you really needed to. So yeah, this is the driver POV with quite a large steering wheel, but quite skinny, with physical buttons. I like them. The left side controls the cruise control, adaptive cruise control, with this button and this set of buttons. Here you can activate the 360 cameras of the car, and from here you control the left side of the gauge cluster. On the right side you control the multimedia, your phone, voice assistant, and the right side of the gauge cluster, which is completely digital, And if we scroll through the right side, you get some information, whatever. I'm not necessarily a fan of them. But on the left side, you could see the tire pressure and the temperature in each tire. This strip which shows you the last 50 kilometers. Wait, I was looking at something. Anyway, the consumption in kilowatts hour per 100 kilometers. All right, a bit over 11. It's more than amazing for my opinion, because it seems like quite an efficient car, even though it's not an EV. And also the consumption in petrol, 1 liter. Because yeah, today, compared with the last couple of days, I did use the car as a hybrid. The last couple of days I used it only as an electric vehicle, and it did both scenarios quite all right. Before the car got to me, it was run mainly on petrol, as you can see, the 5.9 liters per 100 kilometers average consumption, probably for the past 9,000 kilometers, and only 0.9 kilowatts hour. Then you have a sort of an, I don't know, instant consumption, but now the car is on, but it's running only on electricity, so no fuel consumption. And also you can see the total amount of liters consumed or kilowatts from last reset, which I don't know when it was. Anyway, what's important, you see the charge of the battery here and the range on petrol only on the lower side, with total amount of range in here. It is a bit weird because it shows I could only do 19 kilometers on 42% battery, but that's because the car has been sitting. I was filming static, so yeah, the AC was running. As you can see, it's quite hot, so yeah, that's why. Anyway, behind the steering wheel on the left side you do have stock for wipers and lights, and on the right side, once again, something that I quite like, the gearbox selector. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, you get quite plush sun visors with mirror and light, some interior lighting in here, and also a cover for the panoramic roof. Even though it's quite a low budget car, to be honest, you do get it. An interesting sun shades holder with a magnet. The materials up here are a bit nicer than those in the back. Once again, a bit even more nicer on the armrest. With the grab handle, the electric windows are controlled from here, and they all have function of auto, and the mirrors are controlled through here. The ambient lighting is the same front and back, and we also have a door pocket. What else? The infotainment screen, it doesn't rotate. I was not able to find any command for that, but I don't mind it. I like the 360-degree cameras and the fact that you can see the wheels, the front one, the back wheels, or all four. It's more than fine, in my opinion. The infotainment, it's Android based, so you do get Google Maps as the sat-nav, which works via the internet, and it's quite an easy system to use, obviously. Also, you can install some additional apps like YouTube or whatever. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are wireless. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, you control the AC through the screen, which is not ideal, but at least you do have auto function, and that's pretty much all that you need. And the steering wheel and the seat heating is in here as well. Then lower back you have a phone holder, a wireless charger, which is ventilated as well. The driving modes, you control them through here and they appear on the display. You also have the hazard lights with auto hold function, nice to have. The start stop button, which you most likely won't use because, once again, being an electric platform, even though it's a hybrid, this one, you can press the brake pedal and the car is on, or you could leave it and lock the car and it will turn itself off like an electric car. Easy. The mode that can commute from that can not commute, what's the word, you can switch from electric vehicle to hybrid, the front demist, and a volume rocker. A couple of cup holders that are not adaptive, unfortunately, an armrest with a bit of storage space, and the glove box is not covered, but at least it's quite spacious. Okay, that's pretty much it. The configuration. The driving part, well, it's pretty basic, to be honest, and it's a good thing, to be honest. Once again, I wasn't expecting anything else. It's not a sports car in any shape or form. The comfort levels are quite good, considering the fact that we only have 17 inches on the rims and quite a lot of rubber on them. But it's quite a short wheelbase car, so yeah, when you hit a bump, you hit it with the front tires, and shortly after you're gonna hit it with the back tires as well. And there is a more simple setup in terms of the suspension, so yeah, you will feel it. But it's adequate, it's more than fine. The noise levels inside the cabin, once again, are not amazing at highway speeds, which here in Romania can go up to about 140 kilometers per hour. Well, 130 with a bit of VAT, as I usually saying. But you don't get quite a lot of tire noise. It's actually the wind noise from the mirrors, from the shape of the car. Anyway, it's fine. Once again, for the budget, the price of the car here in Romania in 2026 starts at about 28,000 euros for this top of the line variant, and that's the list price, so you might get some discounts. That's not bad, to be honest, not bad at all. Once again, keeping in mind that it's a plug-in hybrid with quite a large battery, actually. So, yeah. Why would you fix the road when you can stick something in the pothole and leave it like that? I swear, sometimes I feel like I'm in, I don't know, African country or something. Anyway, let's switch the car to sport mode and do a quick acceleration back on the highway from, I don't know, 30 kilometers per hour to this already set 140. Let's just hope that the traffic will allow me to do this. Let's see. Yeah, I know, the engine is quite loud once it starts, because you demand all of the power output of the system. It has to keep the revs up, and after a while, if you use the car mostly as an electric car, the noise is not gonna please you. But alright, once you left off the accelerator, you demand less from the system, so the engine does remain on, but at a lower RPM state, so it's not so intrusive in the cabin. But as I said, if you don't demand the whole 212 horsepower from the system, you could actually run it as an EV, even up to those speeds. So, yeah, I'll do an overtake shortly in EV power alone. So you'll check out the acceleration as well in that mode. Let me see once it's legal to overtake. More than fine, to be honest. Comparable with something that only has a petrol engine with 3 or 4 cylinders, and it's with instant torque, considering that it's an electric vehicle. So, yeah, as I said, I'm quite pleased with that. Yeah, they do have quite drawbacks, especially after some years and years of usage, because it's quite a complex vehicle, so that might be a reason not to buy it. And once again, the seat is not ideal. I don't get enough under thigh support, nor lumbar support, so yeah. But once again, considering the price of the car, I wasn't really expect them, so oh, and also you tend to sweat quite a lot in these seats, so maybe a ventilation system would have been appropriate, but once again, not at this price point. Anyway, reasons to buy the car, obviously it's easy to use, it's almost like an electric car, and you do get quite a lot of benefits because of that. You can start the car from the key fob or the BYD app, like you would on an electric car. It's so easy to use. And yeah, I understand you also have the peace of mind that for, I don't know, 5 to 10% of the use case scenarios that you're gonna put the car through, you will have a backup petrol engine to take you to the destination without the hassle of charging. But I don't know, for me as an electric car owner, I wouldn't necessarily go for this one. I would probably stick with the electric version. Anyway, and also the maintenance aspects. You do have to do an oil change every 1 year or 15,000 kilometers. That's a good thing that they do not stretch it to 2 years or 30,000 kilometers. That's the service interval, check interval of the electric system. And I don't know, some spark plugs at 50,000 kilometers probably. And I'm not sure about the transmission. It should require an oil change, but I'm not sure if they do have a service plan for that. Other than that, no worries in terms of tires or brakes or I don't know. Oh, and yeah, I forgot to communicate the consumptions. You could go almost 140 kilometers, probably 50 kilometers in the summer on electric power alone, if you're using the car mainly inside the city or at lower speeds. If you're using it outside the city, yeah, you'll probably be scoring just 40 to 50 kilometers from a full battery. But for my use case scenario of today, I managed 7.6 kilowatts hour in terms of consumption, which went up to 15 the other day when I used it only on electric power alone. And today it shows me 2.6 liters of petrol used as well for every 100 kilometers driven. So what more would you want? Oh, you're gonna buy the car and you will not charge it every day, you will use it like a regular petrol. Well, I do have the overall trip of the car, which shows just 0.9 kilowatts hour of electricity used, mainly because the car was not charged as it should be, but it does show a 5.8 liters of petrol used for every 100 kilometers. So running it as a petrol car as well tends to be quite efficient in my opinion. So yeah, that's gonna be it, the whole review. I reckon it's an interesting choice if you're on a budget, but I don't know, only if you must have that petrol engine. Otherwise, probably look at the electric version as well. Until next time, thank you for watching.